What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and we just got done watching the 24-20 loss in Week 4 to the New York Jets. It's a bone-crushing loss here, but here's the thing. Kenny Pickett started. He made his debut, so there is hope to be had in Steeler Nation. So if you want all the Kenny Pickett news, analysis, all these other things coming up here, I want you to subscribe to the channel. We are less than 300 subscribers away from 18K. So if you want the best Steelers coverage here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Talk by Chat Sports today. Okay, so let's get into the game. 24-20 final score. It was pretty disappointing, that finish there, giving up 2 touchdowns right there at the end, not being able to stop Zach Wilson after really getting after him all day. The Pittsburgh offense kind of came out kind of stalled. You know, they weren't really moving the ball very well. Lots of 3-and-outs, lots of penalties. And Mike Tomlin went for it. He went for the rookie. He pulled the trigger on Kenny Pickett. And, man, the offense looked a lot better in the second half. Pickett only had 3 incompletions all day, or 3 non-completions, and they were all interceptions. So overall, it sucks that we lost what really was a must-win for the Steelers. But at the end of the day, there is hope to be had because we looked a lot better in that second half, and we put ourselves in a position to win the ball game. So let's get into my 3 takeaways for this week's game. Number 1 is that Kenny Pickett looked impressive. Okay, so why was he in the game in the first place? Mitchell Trubisky really didn't play all that well. 7 of 13, 84 yards, and a pick, which really wasn't all that bad. He didn't play awful in the first half, but it was clear that this offense was stalling. 3-and-outs galore, lots of penalties. There's a lot of stuff for Mitch to overcome. But at the end of the day, Mike Tomlin felt like this team needed a jolt, so he went with Kenny Pickett in the second half. And, you know, they didn't really throw it that much with him. They were really trying to get Najee Harris going for most of the game, and he actually did a lot better in that second half. But when Kenny came in, you could feel the energy from the crowd. They were going absolutely bananas, and it was so much fun to watch. Kenny going in for 2 rush TDs in this one. And, I mean, you look at what happened with this offense. Kenny Pickett taking shots down the field, giving his guys opportunities to catch the ball down the field, which is fantastic. And Kenny, I'm really, really excited for what this offense can do with Kenny Pickett in the future as their starting quarterback. And I assume that he will be next week's starter. Okay, so let's go into my notes for Kenny Pickett in the pre-draft process. Okay, so this is what I thought of his college film. Number 1, he was a fantastic mental processor. His superpower is being able to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And, you know, he does it very, very cleanly. He doesn't skip reads. He doesn't go too fast. He doesn't go too slow. He knows how to be very in control of the offense. He's also a very accurate passer, specifically to the short and intermediate parts of the field. If there's a guy open, he sees it. He has the footwork and everything and the mechanics to hit the guy in stride. We saw a lot of that today. And then he's also a fantastic playmaker outside of the pocket. So, you know, he's in the pocket. He needs to get out. And, you know, he's very good at improvising. And then he's a great thrower on the run. And so the one thing that I kind of was my bugaboo with Pickett coming out and why I had him graded as a second-round quarterback was that he was a bit skittish in the pocket. He was so good at making plays outside of the pocket at Pitt that even if he had a clean pocket, if his first couple reads weren't there, he was out of there. And that really scared me coming into the league, especially to the Steelers, because the Steelers' offensive line, we all know, isn't the best in the National Football League. So I figured if there was pressure in his face all the time, that he would struggle. But that hasn't been the case thus far. He's been fantastic, going from read to read to read, standing and delivering passes in the pocket. And even today, he delivered one to the middle of the field. I can't remember who it was to, but he took a shot right to the face in the red zone. It was bloody fantastic what he was able to do. I've been extremely, extremely impressed with Pickett. And my concerns with him coming into this year's draft, they're gone. I think that he is the future of this franchise. I've seen the connection that he's had with George Pickens and Diontae Johnson. I see how well he moves in the pocket. I've seen, 10 of 13 today, and then just so 3 interceptions today. All 3 of them were really not on Pickett, in my opinion. 2 of them hit the receiver in the hands, bobbled, and then it's picked up by another defender, which, he's giving his guys an opportunity to catch the football. So I don't really blame Pickett for that. And then on the last one was a Hail Mary. Like, who cares, man? He's shoving it out there, trying to win a ball game. Who cares if there's an interception at the end? That's not on him either. So when I look at the 10 for 13 stat line, I'm seeing an almost perfect stat line, because even the ones that fell or were intercepted, he threw accurate passes. He did what he was supposed to do. And at the end of the day, I am extremely, extremely excited for what Kenny Pickett is going to bring to this offense in the coming weeks. Okay, so I want you to grade Kenny Pickett's performance. His first game as the Steelers QB, it was only a half game, but grade his performance on a scale A, B, C, D, or F. I will give it an A. Okay, the offense was sputtering, and then he came in. He looked fantastic. I don't really blame him for any of the interceptions. You look at the stat line, 3 picks, you're like, oh, he didn't play well. But, he had those 2 rushing touchdowns. I'm giving him an A. I'm very, very excited for the future in Pittsburgh. Okay, my number 2 takeaway in this one is the defense is in trouble. We all know TJ Watt is out of the lineup for the foreseeable future. He will be coming back soon, but now it looks like we might be down Minkah Fitzpatrick and Terrell Edmunds. Minkah Fitzpatrick left the game with an apparent head injury late in this one, and his presence, losing him, really allowed the Jets to move down the field at will, man. And it was just, you could definitely feel his presence missing at the end of this game. And then also Terrell Edmunds left the game with a certified concussion. It has been confirmed that he has a concussion. He left the game in the second quarter. I guess we'll see if these guys can come back next week with these head injuries. But this is the second one. If Fitzpatrick got concussed there at the end, that's his second concussion in 2 weeks. I would say it's very unlikely that either of these guys play next week. If either one of them play, it will be Edmunds. But plain and simply, this defense in the coming weeks, without TJ Watt, probably without Minkah Fitzpatrick, maybe without Terrell Edmunds, they need to step up. And, I'm worried that they're not going to be able to. Cam Heyward is by far our best defensive player right now. There's a couple other players that showed some good things in this one. But at the end of the day, we're losing our stars, and these guys are the lifeblood of this defense. This is why, we all remember how poor this defense was with Minkah Fitzpatrick out of the picture. Okay, and now it looks like he might be out of the picture here for a week or possibly more. So I guess we'll see how things go here. But at the end of the day, they need to step up in the coming weeks because the schedule coming up is pretty tough. Okay, so I want you to grade the Steelers defense without TJ Watt. Okay, for me, I would say without TJ Watt, we're about a B defense. If we have Minkah, on a scale of 1 to 100, I would say we're probably about a 77 without TJ Watt, but with Minkah Fitzpatrick. And now without Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think we're getting to the 50s, maybe like a 58, because we don't have our star pass rusher, we don't have our star safety. And really, this defense is really reliant on these two to be at their best. So for me, I'll say 77 without TJ Watt, 58 without Minkah Fitzpatrick. So let's get to my last takeaway in this one, in that it's go time for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've seen what Kenny Pickett and this offense can do when Pickett is on the field. And now they need to get things going in what is inarguably the toughest part of their schedule. Okay, let's look at the next 5 weeks of the Steelers' schedule. They've got the Bills in Week 5. They got the Buccaneers in Week 6, the Dolphins in Week 7, and the Eagles in Week 8. And, man, these are some tough opponents. Now, me looking at this situation, I think we need to win at least 2 of these games so we can go into the bye at 3-5, and then the schedule softens up here, and we can make a run for the playoffs. I think we need to get to at least 3-5, and I'm looking at the schedule. Tampa Bay has some injuries right now at wide receiver and on the interior of the offensive line. So at home, I'd say that's a possibility. And then the other one that I think is vulnerable is probably at Miami, because they're obviously without Tua Tagovailoa right now. If he's not back by then and they're still starting Teddy Bridgewater, I would say that that those 2 games are really the most winnable games, but I think we need to win at least 2 of those. 2 of them, okay? We need to go 2-2, 500 over this gauntlet of a 4-week stretch if we want to stay in the playoffs. Because, man, if we go into the bye at 2-6, I really don't think that's really a possibility. We really, to make the playoffs, you need to get to double-digit wins now, especially in a loaded AFC. So, only having room for 1 more loss in the second half of the season, I don't think is going to be enough for the Steelers to really make a run. I think we need to go at least 2-2 over the next 4 weeks in order to have a shot. Okay, so what is your one-word reaction to the Week 4 loss to the Jets? My one-word reaction is confused. Okay, emotionally, it's been a big roller coaster ride, right? Kenny Pickett comes in, huge surge of emotion. We're playing really well, and then we just throw it away there at the end. Very disappointing. It was really a must-win week for Pittsburgh. You really got that sense, and they didn't follow through with the victory today, which is disappointing, but there is hope for the future. I'm very excited to see what Kenny Pickett can do in the coming weeks. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, peace, guys.